we're going to move into district community leadership teams. So I'm going to set you up for this afternoon and for tomorrow. This afternoon's focus is on the district as the unit of implementation to start the pathway towards enhancing your MTSS efforts and bringing our mental health partners along. Tomorrow, we're going to focus on school level implementation. So tomorrow, we're going to do all school level. But if you're focused at the district, it's going to be really critical for you to know what it looks like and sounds like at the school level, so we can wrap the supports around at the district to make sure that we're doing it with fidelity. So we're going to move in between district and school this afternoon and tomorrow, but I think that you'll find that both are very relevant. To that end, I've added a couple slides as we script the moves a little bit more this afternoon and tomorrow. We got a sense of what ISF is this morning. You got a full morning of really a 2-day session. You got a lot of information thrown at you. We are now going to use kind of a spiraling curriculum approach, if you will, and we're going to slow it down, and we're going to talk about what it's going to look like and sound like at your district and at your school. So we're going to be repeating a lot of the examples that we shared this morning, but now we're going to give you time to dissect that and to figure out how you're going to make this happen at your district and your school. So for purposes of this afternoon, when we give you time to action plan, we want you to be thinking about the next steps. It's great that we're here today. It's great that we get excited about the possibilities of enhancing our MTSS model, but we want you guys to take specific things back to start down the pathway of implementation. In order to do that, I want you to be thinking of 2 critical next steps that we need to take for every feature that we give you time to action plan around. Sound okay? You guys with me? Cool. So what I've done is I've scripted the moves a little bit for you, and I've put some specific actions. I've pre-populated it. Don't worry about using these. I'm kind of cheating and giving you the answers to the questions. But I mean, when I talk about action steps, it doesn't need to be highly involved here. It could just be, let's take another look at those slides that we got the overview around, and let's use some of those slides to have dialogue and conversation with some of the partners that we're not really having those conversations with at the moment. Let's look at some of the data, right? Let's look at some of the community data that's surrounding us that might be influencing and impacting kids' academic achievement, and some of the conversations we've been having today. Or it could be that you really get into this and you look at some of the current memorandum of understanding or contracts that you currently have in place with your community providers, and you start really pulling those apart and saying, how can we improve those? So when I'm talking about action steps, they can be from very simple, let's really harness and get our arms around what this thing is, or it can be really explicit. It's all dependent upon where you are in the implementation process. The key point is that you walk out of here tomorrow with some essential actions that will carry you to the next level of implementation. So I'm hoping you can see that. I'm going to read it off for you. You guys are here in teams, and when we have broken you out to do some discussion this morning, we can see you interacting as teams. So I want to, again, script this up a little bit. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to determine roles for this afternoon and for tomorrow. On your team, as you're action planning today, I want you to identify a facilitator. That person is going to make sure that in the time you've got allotted to action plan around these components, you are moving through the task at hand, you're seeking information from everybody that's in your group, and you're summarizing main points of your discussion. I also need you to identify a minute taker, somebody that can drill down on the essential discussion points that you're having over the next day and a half and pull out those main points and put them on an action plan. And it doesn't have to be a new action plan, it could be an action plan format that you currently have. I want somebody to identify themselves to be the timekeeper, and everybody wants to do that, right? Because that's kind of the easiest role to do. But I need somebody, if we give you 10 minutes, somebody needs to keep time so that we can keep ourselves on task with a mission at hand. I also need a reporter, somebody that wants to report out. I love when we bring a small group together, and I encourage you to share lessons learned and perceived barriers and challenges that you're meeting right now, and really build a community of practice with the first generation of ISFers in this state, okay? So having you guys report out to one another is really important. And then finally, a data geek, somebody that can bring to the table and influence the conversation around some of the key data points that you're really concerned about right now as you're talking about the next steps towards your action planning mission. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to quickly identify some of those critical roles, and then we'll move into the district community leadership guide, and we'll move through this afternoon with really scripting out the moves of what you're going to do next. Any questions in those 2 minutes to kind of figure out who's going to take ownership of those tasks?